we try to encourage young women, because we're in our 50s now, we try to encourage young women to not accept the BS. And we try to teach life lessons that we've learned.
I'm Botter.
I'm Blythe, and we're the co-founders of the Jax Podcasters United.
And this here's another episode of our local podcaster spotlight series hosted by JPU community members Phil and Eric.
Welcome back to the JPU first ever podathon as we help feed Northeast Florida. I'm here with two guests actually here this evening. And if you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves and also tell us the name of your podcast.
My name is Adinah.
And I'm Bridgett.
And we are the Black Butterfly, Black Pearls podcast, where we talk about everything and nothing.
Oh, woo woo.
Woo woo!
Fantastic. How long have y'all, has your podcast been around? How long have you been at it?
We have had our podcast for about 6 months, but we've been friends for 45 years
wow.
since I was 6 and she was 5.
Yes.
And after I retired, my sweet husband, Nick, and Adinah on YouTube.
Shout out to him back there. You can't see him, but shout out to him.
Nick. You can't see him. He retired me at 50, and I told my best friend, I said, hey, I'm doing a podcast. And she was like, I'm going with you. So that's how we ended up with the podcast.
That's how we started. Just like that.
And when we talk about ratchet and respectable, because I retired as a psychology professor,
okay.
I'm a little bit respectable.
She took the one half, I only left the other half for you.
Right.
Check out our After Dark episode. She is a bit
Whatever.
ratchet.
So, you said kind of when you stepped away from your profession, that's when you started this. What has been something that maybe has surprised you about podcasting?
Well, because my husband and I, we've been psychology professors, and he's an IT professor, and also we were marriage coaches for 20 years, since 2003. We had a YouTube channel, and I was the producer there too. Mm-hmm. So to be honest with you, nothing has surprised me other than me trying to pull her out of her shell, because she's a little bit more quiet than I am. So it has worked though, because I couldn't do it without her. I honestly could not do it without her. And I've told her that over and over, because she knows me so well. And other than my husband, she is the closest person to me.
Yes.
And it's funny how this medium, even when somebody is a little bit introverted, can bring out that voice that you probably never even knew that you had until you stepped into this space, which is so great. If somebody were to approach you and say, hey, what's your favorite episode, or what is an episode that they should maybe start with so they can get to know the both of you best, do you have something in mind?
Well, I always tell her, because we talk about them after the episodes are over, that whatever episode we just recorded is always my favorite. Mm-hmm. I think we get better as we go along. Yeah. So I'm just enjoying the journey.
What about you? Is there something that maybe you would, do you have the same answer, or is there a specific episode that sticks out in your, she's got one.
No, because anybody who knows us, we challenge each other. We pull everything out of each other. I always bring in my psychology background, and I always bring in research. Mm-hmm. And she asks amazing questions, which is why I wouldn't want to do this with anybody else. But my favorite episode is the Shirley Strawberry episode, because I was like, girl, let me tell you. Because part of our podcast is we try to encourage young women, because we're in our 50s now. We try to encourage young women to not accept the BS and not to get caught up. And so we try to teach life lessons that we've learned. And so part of that, and she's been with me all my life, so she's able to ask the questions that I'm like, I didn't want to talk about that, but here we go.
What's important to the conversation?
It's important conversation. I think one other episode that was really important was the Tommy Davidson episode, where I was majorly triggered, and she was able to walk me through that. As a psychology professor, I'm usually the one to walk everybody through their trauma and their issues, but she was able to say, hey, what affected you?
You had Tommy Davidson on, or you were discussing Tommy Davidson?
We were discussing him.
So
Oop. Well, that's definitely an
he
episode.
was
There
the
you go.
topic of conversation. He
Yeah.
wasn't there, but I guess it could have been.
Because I was so triggered. I was like, ugh! But she was able to walk me through it because she's been there with me through the whole process.
Yeah. And what's something that maybe you still feel is a area of opportunity for y'all? What's something that you want to improve on when it comes to your show?
I don't know.
She loves the podcast completely. When we pull up together, and I think it has brought us closer together. When we're both like meeting up for something, she's playing the podcast, I'm playing the podcast. I think we'll have the podcast just for us. But and her family, because her family is so supportive. So I think the one thing that we're trying to do is just get it out to other young women, younger women, to
get better at it. Get better at it.
to teach them that, you know, you're going to make mistakes, but don't let the mistakes be life-changing, you know.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, don't let it define you, maybe. You know, all of us have gone through those moments that we're not super proud of, but, you know, building upon that, I think that's a great message. That's fantastic. You said this has been your first JPU event. What's something that you either learned today, or what's something that you really enjoyed about this, you know, finding this community?
Oh, my God. I found building community. That was the class that I took today, and building a community, just getting other people involved. And I think it's just not for us. I think not just America, but this world is huge. So I think it's important to get other people involved, other nations involved, other countries involved. I just really want us to get more people involved in what we're doing and the information that we provide.
Well, I think I learned that there are ways that we can get our message out that we hadn't really thought about, and it gave me some ideas and some things we could do to change and grow and get better.
Yeah, one of the great things about the JPU, we're always learning something, and some stuff that you apply may work for you, some of it may not, but you're always going to come away with something new, which is fantastic. So thank you so much for joining us for the first time. We can't wait to see you hopefully again at the next meetup. Really quick, before we wrap up, let everybody know where they can find your show and any social media you'd like to plug.
It is the Black Butterfly, Black Pearls podcast on Spotify, and we're on Facebook under Adinah J at Gmail.
That was it?
That was it.
There you go.
Yeah.
This has been the JPU Podfest, or the Podathon, sorry. And thank you guys so much for being here. It was great meeting y'all.
Yeah.